everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am setting up our May 15th budget. If this is your first video with me, we are paid on the 15th of each month, and we budget following the paycheck to paycheck method. So while I don't set up a monthly budget following the calendar month per se, I do follow our budget month. Full disclosure though, I filmed this at the very beginning of May for two reasons. One, because we had some appointments that as we got closer to payday, I wouldn't have the proper time to set up our budget. And two, at the beginning of May, we got some news about changes to our budget that I wanted to get in writing then and there so that I didn't forget. By the way, these changes did not affect our April budget. So I start by dating the months, since this is an undated workbook. The workbook I'm currently using is one that I created. I was having a hard time with a lot of the workbooks currently out there, both in print and digital, and believe me, I've tried a lot of them. Yes, even ones that some of you have said have helped you so much, and you know what? I'm glad that they've helped you. But for me, it came down to not being able to future plan our budget. I was trying to stick our income into nice, neat little calendar month boxes like all those monthly budgeting worksheets out there, even when we were paid weekly, and it just wasn't working. We were missing items, forgetting items, and that elusive fifth weekly paycheck was always an enigma to us. We only got a few of them each year. And at first we had used them to try to help beef up our sinking funds, but then inevitably we would draw from those funds to cover bills that were due before the first paycheck of the next calendar month, and it just became a vicious cycle. So since I've started doing this paycheck to paycheck budgeting method, it's really helped. But this workbook has also allowed us to be able to plan for things in the future. Now, this isn't a totally new idea. It wasn't until I read You Need a Budget that I realized what our budgeting problem was. I'll leave a link to that book below. It's a really great book. They also have an online system for budgeting. I can't use it. I'm a pen and paper girl. But the problem is we were using future money to designate what was due now, and it was creating a big issue. We were using that first paycheck of that month to pay bills that were due now because I was trying to fit them into neat little calendar boxes, and it just wasn't working. So I created this budget workbook to meet the shortfalls that I was finding in others out there. Since future planning was an issue, I made room for that in this planner. Yes, I do future plan our budget. In YNAB, it's part of finding your true expenses, but I don't try to fit our paychecks into neat little calendar boxes anymore. I don't rely on money that we haven't gotten yet, and I just roll with what we need to pay now and save for what's coming up with what income we have now. So after I dated the calendars, I filled in the bill due dates, and I also like to highlight a section at the bottom of the month so I can note what we spent on food, fuel, and savings over that pay month. So here's where some of the changes come in. I don't know if you can tell, but the top of June is looking mighty bare compared to May, and it's for a few reasons. One, we don't have as many therapy appointments for June. Actually, I have none scheduled so far, and this is really rare. My boys' therapist took another job in a different part of the state, so right now we're in limbo as far as getting them scheduled with a new therapist. Two, there's no clarinet payment in June. I was able to pay it off. Three, there's no Disney payment in June. The marching band director had decided to cancel the November trip for now, with the potential for the virus to be worse in the fall and losing out on more money, and as he put it, it was just a mess. It's just easier to deal with it now. I did decide to leave dance in here for June simply because they still want to do the recital, and I'm unsure what is happening with it at this point. I would rather budget for it and not need to pay it than not budget for it and have to come up with the money at the last minute. So once I got all the bills written in, I write my reminders for that month on the bottom. My budget reminders for June include our AAA payment is due, car inspection and 100,000 mile maintenance, A's trumpet needs to be cleaned, I'm expecting a quarterly trash bill this month, and our septic. We are having our septic pumped in June. I saved up enough money with our sinking fund, but we'd like to start looking into getting a sand mound and the costs associated with that. Our budget reminders for July, our annual vision exams are at the beginning of the month. Marching band has $25 in dues. I'm still unsure how this is going to go. And I'm expecting another propane delivery. These I budget for from our non-monthly sinking fund. Now I fill out the paycheck budget sheet for May 15th through June 14th. Since I did film this so early, I haven't completed a budget review for our April 15th paycheck yet, so I'm looking back to see what I budgeted for in some categories from our April paycheck. But also keep in mind that at the time that I filled this, I'm not aware of any money rolling in from our April paycheck into May for a snowball payment. So for May, I'm basing it off just Hubs' income. I've been making some money on Etsy, but I don't rely on it for budgeting purposes. By the way, a huge thank you to those of you who have purchased items from me. I'm so glad to see that they're helping you and that it's working for your budgets. Our sinking funds this month are the same: $267 in non-monthly, $260 in gifting, $125 in medical, $21 to dental, $129 to vision. This one's almost done. $91 to the company truck, $85.50 for instrument cleaning, and $86 for a back-to-school fund. This may need to be adjusted. I was listening to one of the school board meetings that our district was having as far as remote and one-on-one learning this fall, and Hubs and I agreed that we would rather purchase a device outright than go through the option that the school had, simply because we could get the device cheaper, but we would need to see what options they gave us, so stay tuned on this. Next, we're getting into the bills of the paycheck. D-Chase is our entertainment. It's Hubs' credit card. It's things like Disney Plus, Netflix, etc. We usually budget $50 for this one, but one of those post-it notes that I had at the beginning told me to put an extra $533.18 for the order of a door for our laundry room to deck area. Again, this is one of the projects we were intending to do this summer, but we started it when Hubs was working from home for a month before he went back to work as an essential worker. Best Buy, I budgeted $30. K-Chase, I'm budgeting $161. Electric, I always budget $150. Insurance, I budget $255. Explorer, $340. Cell 2, this is A's phone, I budget $50 a month. House, $565. Verizon, our internet and landline, because cell service where we live is sporadic, $85. K-City, $250. D-Nelnet, $100. K-Nelnet, $275. Cell 1 is my cell phone at $48. So during our March paycheck, we spent a little over $900 on food. Crazy, I know. I'll leave a link to the budget review video I did where I talk more about it. But for our April paycheck, I only budgeted $800. And so far, we're doing really well with our grocery budget for the month. But until I do the budget review, I can only estimate based on what we had for April. So food, $800. Household, $200. Allowance for the kids is $40, hair is $20, pet is $190, and miscellaneous is $100. What I'm noticing though is that while I'm not spending a ton in fuel right now, all of a sudden I'm spending a lot in ink and printer paper. Is anyone else having this issue? Like, we would buy ink 3 or 4 times a year. Hubs has already had to buy it 4 times for me in the last 2 months. Fuel, I'm budgeting $250. I know that there are some appointments in June that are coming up that I do need to travel a ways for, so I would rather make sure that I'm budgeting for it, and if I don't spend it, I don't spend it. And again, I don't know if dance is actually going to have the recital and if we're traveling for new classes in the studio and whatnot. Therapy, as of now, I'm assuming the boys will have 2 each per month as they did initially with their other therapist. So $60 total between the 2. Dance, again, I'd rather budget for this than not. That's $185. O's rental. I mentioned before when we paid off the rental terms early that they had enrolled me in a monthly repair program without me even knowing. Initially, I was going to call them and cancel it. It's a maintenance repair. And I figured, why do I need the maintenance repair when we're just home? However, it's $8 and they have been having Zoom classes. And since they've been having Zoom classes, I have been finding his clarinet still assembled in the weirdest places. So this may be a good $8 to keep in here for now. So as of now, this is how our May 15th paycheck is broken down. Income, $6,340. Savings and sinking funds, $1,064.50. Bills, I'm estimating about $2,899. Cash envelopes, $1,350. And debit expenses, $503. This currently is leaving us a buffer of about $523.50. Now, sometimes this buffer gets eaten up in miscellaneous expenses like additional therapy appointments, bills that are higher than what I've budgeted. But other times this buffer is put into savings. And then there's times that this is a massive snowball payment on our next payday. So that's it for our May 15th budget with me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my content, please click that subscribe button. Until next time, bye.